Imagine this. Sprawling oceanfront mansions, infinity pools cascading down hills, every view just perfect like a postcard. And the sun always seems angled just right, hitting those amazing architectural details. Now, picture the people selling these places. High stakes, glittering lives, navigating this world of multi-million-dollar dream homes. There's just this undeniable pull, isn't there? A mix of luxury and, well, raw human drama.
Absolutely. It's a fantasy for so many people, but for these agents, it's their actual job. And when you layer that glamour with, the messy, sometimes explosive dynamics of a workplace, you get something really hard to look away from.
Exactly. And that's what we're here to do today on the Deep Dives. We take your sources, articles, interviews, all that stuff, and pull out the key insights, the important nuggets, giving you that shortcut to really being in the know.
Yeah, getting you up to speed quickly.
So today we are diving headfirst into the sun-drenched, palm-lined, and let's be honest, seriously drama-filled world of Netflix's Selling the OC.
And this isn't just, another real estate show. It's the direct spin-off of the huge hit, Selling Sunset. So our deep dive today is really focused. We want to figure out what exactly makes Selling the OC stand out.
Right.
How does it carve out its own identity compared to Sunset? And crucially, why has its specific brand of drama, which is often pretty intense, pretty unabashed, grabbed audiences and critics, sometimes even getting praise for, fixing problems from the original show?
I love that idea, a reality show fixing another show's problems.
Yeah.
And to really get into that, we've gathered a whole lot of insights for you. We've looked through exclusive interviews with the Oppenheim brothers, the OC agents themselves, getting their side of things.
First-hand accounts.
We've also read the critical reviews people, the Daily Beast, Screen Rant, The Guardian, getting that outside perspective. And, of course, checked out the basics on Wikipedia for the overall picture.
So, if you've ever found yourself just completely sucked into a reality show binge watch, maybe wondering, what makes these people tick, or what really drives all that constant drama, then you are definitely in the right place.
Yeah, you're going to enjoy this.
This deep dive is going to try and reveal that sort of deliberate and maybe sometimes accidental mix that makes Selling the OC work the way it does, get you past just the shiny surfaces.
Okay, let's pull back that curtain then. Let's start at the beginning, the foundation, how this OC branch actually happened, because it's maybe more strategic than you'd first think.
Yeah, that's crucial. To really get the unique flavor of Selling the OC, you first got to understand the base it's built on. The Oppenheim Group, growing empire.
Right.
The whole Selling franchise really kicked off with Selling Sunset, which started back in March 2019. That show introduced us to the super high-end real estate world of the O Group, mostly in LA and San Diego. And it just blew up, became this global thing, kind of setting the template. Oh, it absolutely exploded. But what's really interesting about Selling the OC is that it wasn't like an immediate plan from Netflix right after Sunset hit big.
Right. It wasn't commissioned straight away.
Exactly. It wasn't the studio saying, okay, let's do this again in a new city. It actually came from the Oppenheim Group, just expanding naturally into Orange County. Jason Oppenheim himself said Netflix only got really interested after they'd already opened the Newport Beach office and started hiring a totally new team.
And that's a key difference, isn't it? It wasn't show first, then office. It was office first, then show.
Yeah.
Which suggests, a real business move driving it. And paradoxically, for a reality show, that can add a layer of maybe authenticity. Because they set up the office, hired agents before the cameras rolled in. It let a kind of natural social structure develop first. Relationships, maybe some rivalries, could start forming without that immediate pressure of being filmed for everyone to see. That can be fertile ground for more, genuine interactions later on. And it's smart growth, strategically speaking. You take a brand everyone already knows, Selling Sunset, and use it to launch new places, new faces, without having to build an audience from zero.
Taps right into the existing fan base.
Totally. While expanding the whole selling universe. Selling the OC is a direct spinoff, same brokerage, and crucially, Jason Oppenheim is on both shows. He's that link, that anchor.
Right, the familiar face.
And you see some crossover, right? Sunset people popping up in OC, OC people in Sunset sometimes. It makes it feel connected. So for you, understanding this shared foundation helps you appreciate the choices they made later to make OC feel different, but still part of that glamorous Oppenheim world. Like a sequel that promises something fresh but familiar.
And that strategy leads right into one of the biggest differences. The shift in location. Orange County versus Los Angeles. Geographically, aesthetically, moving from LA's sprawl and canyons to the more coastal, maybe more pristine vibe of Orange County, specifically Newport Beach. It just brings a different feel.
Okay.
Gio Hulu from the OC cast nailed it. He said it's a whole different vibe than LA.
And you really feel it watching the show.
Yeah.
Newport Beach has its own brand of luxury, doesn't it? It's more about those huge ocean views, perfect landscaping, lots of modern glassy architecture, that whole indoor-outdoor living thing.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Victoria, another agent, even claimed the OC show has sexier real estate, which, I mean, coming from someone selling those houses, that's a statement.
It is, but it sets an expectation visually, a different kind of luxury, maybe less old Hollywood, more like modern beach chic, all about that seamless flow from the living room out to the Pacific.
So it's not just the location changing, it's the whole aesthetic of the wealth being shown. And what's really interesting is they brought in a totally new group of agents.
Yeah, they didn't just move the Sunset cast down the coast, which might have seemed easier production-wise.
Right. Alexandra Jarvis made that clear. She said it was entirely new people, new personalities, totally different dynamic. That clean slate is a huge deal, allows for completely fresh interactions.
And Jason's brother, Brett Oppenheim, he actually described the OC cast as younger. And he believed their youth, and maybe more importantly, their lack of prior reality TV experience, let them, well, his words were, give less Fs, made them more free, he thought. Basically made for TV, which is kind of fascinating, isn't it? The idea that less experience, less self-consciousness might actually make for better TV, more raw.
That's a really interesting casting insight. Like they were aiming for something less polished.
It really seems like it. And think about the starting point, too. Alex Hall mentioned that unlike Sunset, where lots of the cast had known each other for ages, had history.
Yeah, established dynamics.
Right. In OC, she said only a couple of us knew each other prior to filming. Many were new agents and just getting to know each other as we have cameras in our faces.
Wow, talk about pressure.
Exactly. It's like a crucible. You're watching relationships, alliances, rivalries form right there under the spotlight instead of seeing stuff that's maybe been simmering for years off camera.
So for you, the listener, this new setting, fresh cast, less baggage, it all feeds into that raw, unfolding drama. It feels immediate, like you're seeing genuine reactions, maybe hierarchies forming right then and there. Less history, maybe, but also less trust, which can be just as explosive.
And that takes us right into what I kind of think of as the authenticity paradox. These claims the OC cast makes about being ourselves from the very beginning.
Ah, yes, the authenticity claim.
It's a big selling point they push. Jason Oppenheim himself praised them for it, said they did a better job at just being themselves, not being guarded and trusting in the process compared to the original Sunset cast. That's a pretty big statement from the boss.
That is huge, coming from him, knowing both shows inside out. And Brett Oppenheim, his brother, put it down to the OC cast, having the advantage of following the first show.
Like they had a roadmap.
Exactly. They knew what they were signing up for. Brett thought this let them be more comfortable and led to, arguably, a better season one. Alexandra Hall agreed, saying that having Sunset as a reference made it easier to be open and ourselves from the very beginning. It's like they understood the assignment. Be real, don't hold back.
But it's a tricky thing, isn't it? If you know the way to succeed on reality TV is to be yourself, to be unfiltered, does knowing that make you more authentic? Or just better at performing authenticity?
That's the paradox right there.
Polly Brindle, another agent, really doubled down on this. She claimed the storylines are very authentic, that that's what our lives are actually like. She said, no one was putting on a show. We are ourselves. The drama is real. She's really selling the idea of its truthfulness.
So for you listening, the question becomes, does having that blueprint, knowing what worked for Sunset, actually lead to a more genuine portrayal?
Yeah.
Or does it maybe lead to a more polished, more convincing performance of realness, where maybe every reaction, every argument is delivered with one eye on the camera, even so consciously? It's that blurry line between real behavior and making good TV.
And that line gets even blurrier when you factor in the camera's heightening effect, because even with all the talk about authenticity, just having cameras there constantly changes things. It has to.
Oh, absolutely.
Gio Hulu, even while boosting the show's realness, admitted it. He said, once those cameras are rolling, then everything just gets heightened. Emotions, the competition, the spiciness of it all, it just cranks everything up.
You can just imagine it, right? Having a normal chat and suddenly there's a whole crew capturing every little thing. It adds pressure, makes you self-aware. Brandy Marshall talked about sometimes forgetting the cameras were there, but then having those moments later, like, oh my God, the cameras were there for that. And Lauren Short even wondered if maybe they got a little too comfortable being filmed, which, can be good for raw moments, but maybe also leads to stuff you regret later.
It shows how much you have to adapt psychologically to live like that.
Hmm.
But even with that comfort, there's often still that underlying self-awareness, like Sean Palmieri constantly worrying about swearing on camera.
Yeah. Oh my God, I just cursed. I hope they don't put that on.
Exactly. It's that little internal editor that's always running. Even when you're trying hard to just be yourself, you still
Yeah.
want to be seen a certain way.
And this is where the critics' views are really interesting. The Daily Beast actually praised selling the OC for embracing the messiness.
Mm-hmm.
They pointed out that unlike on Sunset, where a lot of the agents, maybe apart from the iconic Christine Quinn, really tried hard to seem likable,
Right, image control.
the OC cast seemed eager to talk shit or humiliate themselves.
Mm.
And the Daily Beast argued this willingness to drop the likable act actually fixed a major selling Sunset problem.
Mhm.
They thought that raw, sometimes messy behavior made for way better TV.
That's a really key point in how reality TV might be evolving. It suggests the OC cast, maybe because they were newer to it or maybe they learned from watching Sunset, were less worried about looking perfect and more focused on just generating drama.
Yeah, creating moments.
So for you, that tension between being real and performing for the camera is always there. But selling the OC seems to lean into it differently, maybe prioritizing entertainment over image, which ironically can feel more real to viewers who are maybe tired of seeing perfectly curated lives.
Okay, let's shift gears to another huge difference, something that totally reshapes the whole dynamic.
Yeah.
The male element reshaping office dynamics. This was a big change, right?
Oh, massive. Probably one of the biggest departures from Selling Sunset, which we all know is pretty much defined by its all-female cast. Selling the OC shakes that up completely by bringing in male agents. You've got Austin Victoria, Tyler Stanaland, Sean Palmieri, Gio Hilou. Suddenly it's a co-ed office, and that changes the whole social vibe.
And Jason Oppenheim was pretty open about liking that change. He even said, it's co-ed. I'm not in an estrogen bowl like I am in Selling Sunset.
Uh-huh. You could almost hear the relief.
Right. He added, I get to really bro out and have fun. Some of my most fun days filming have been with these guys. That says a lot about the different atmosphere, doesn't it? Maybe a different kind of interaction for him, too.
It definitely signals a deliberate move to change the energy, the types of relationships that could form. And the guys on the show, they felt their presence really changed things, made it hard to compare the two shows directly. Gio Hilou seemed confident it would be a hit because of this mix.
Yeah.
It's not just about adding male faces, it's a structural change that affects every conversation, every rivalry, every party.
So you have to wonder, how does adding men change the rivalries? Does it create different kinds of friendships? And what about romantic tension? In a place already full of drama, making it co-ed add a whole new layer of possibility, right? Definitely changes the social fabric.
Well, it seems to lead to a more, maybe direct style of drama, less passive-aggressive than what sometimes happened on Sunset. Gio Hilou noticed the drama felt more intense because everyone, male and female, was so straightforward with each other. Suggests things get confronted head-on more often, less simmering under the surface, maybe quicker explosions.
No pushovers, that's for sure. Sean Palmieri said, every single agent here has the most intense personality. I don't really see anyone here who is a pushover.
Wow.
Yeah, that just sets the stage for fireworks, doesn't it? A bunch of strong personalities, not much shared history, all willing to say what they think. That's a recipe for constant, open conflict.
And we saw that directness, didn't we? Like when Austin Victoria just told Alexandra Rose right to her face that she was the most competitive and the biggest pot stirrer.
Oof. Yeah, I remember that.
And he even added, sorry, just being honest. That kind of unfiltered face-to-face confrontation might have been hidden in confessionals or whispered gossip on other shows. Here, boom, it's right out in the open.
Which leads to that funny but kind of spot-on comment from one source.
Yeah.
Having men doesn't get rid of drama, it just changes how it's expressed. It shows that men can be drama queens too.
Exactly.
So for you watching, it creates a different feel. More overt clashes, maybe less unspoken tension, more just direct conflict. It's a different kind of chaos, but still definitely chaos. Not less drama, just maybe louder drama.
And this brings us nicely to the evolution of reality drama, particularly how selling the OC seems to move away from having one main villain to having antagonists who kind of shift and change.
Yeah, that's a really noticeable difference from selling Sunset, which often had that clear powerhouse villain like Christine Quinn.
Right, Christine Quinn, she was like the gravitational center for so much of the drama for ages, gave Sunset a very clear structure in that sense.
Love her or hate her, you knew who the main antagonist was. But OC feels more fluid, harder to pin down who's causing trouble from one episode to the next.
Exactly. Screen Rant pointed this out, saying on Selling the OC, there are multiple villains, and who seems like the worst person changed from moment to moment.
Okay, examples.
Like Alex Hall and Polly Brindle clashing hard with Kayla Cardona one minute, then maybe Brandy Marshall is targeting Hall the next. Screen Rant argued this constant shifting makes each person more relatable and exciting. You're never totally sure who to root for or against. It's more complex, less black and white.
I can see how that would keep you guessing as a viewer, make you pay more attention to the details of each fight. And it's not just the villains shifting, it's the alliances too, right? They're not stable either.
Not at all. Like the friendship between the two Alexandras, Jarvis, and Rose seemed solid, then completely fell apart with multiple blowout arguments.
Yeah, that was messy.
And Alex Hall and Brandy Marshall's friendship also crumbled. This constant change in who's friends with who just adds to the unpredictability. It feels more like, well, messy real life sometimes.
It really does mirror how relationships can be complex in reality, doesn't it?
Yeah.
People aren't always just heroes or villains. Roles change, loyalties shift. That nuance might make the show feel strangely more relatable, even with all the glamour and heightened drama. It reflects the ambiguity we see in our own lives.
And speaking of conflict, the OC cast certainly doesn't shy away from it. We're talking confrontation, resurfacing arguments, and gossip culture. The sources describe these agents as people who don't back down from a fight. Confrontations are direct. Brandy and Alex Hall, for instance, apparently cut the passive aggressiveness completely. No subtle digs, just straight talk, or straight yelling, maybe.
Yeah, it gets loud, like Alexandra Jarvis publicly saying she wouldn't go to Polly Brindle's party, and then telling Alexandra Rose she wasn't a friend or mentor anymore. That's just out there.
Super direct. That level of public rejection and direct confrontation creates instant drama. No guesswork needed for the audience. It's all laid bare.
And the arguments, they don't just end, do they? They seem to keep coming back. Sources say arguments are rarely put to bed, and old arguments resurface constantly.
Oh, yeah. The prime example given was Kayla Cardona bringing up Polly Brindle's past actions with Tyler Stanaland, those drunken kisses to call out perceived hypocrisy later on. It's like they keep a running tally of past wrongs to use as ammo.
That definitely keeps the drama engine running. Constant reopening of old wounds.
It's a classic reality TV tactic, isn't it? Unresolved conflict plus dredging up the past equals sustained tension. And it all feeds into and is fed by what's described as out-of-control gossip.
The gossip mill.
Totally. Constant talk about personal lives, video footage being shared, rumors flying, like the talk about Alexandra Jarvis's supposed multiple engagements or marriages. That gossip isn't just background noise. It drives the plot, fuels the fights, blurs personal and professional lines. It creates this really volatile environment.
Right, the gossip is like fuel on the fire, constantly creating drama and entertainment. It escalates everything. And underneath it all is this intense cutthroat competition.
Absolutely. The agents are called beyond cutthroat, willing to cut each other down publicly.
Examples.
Well, Kayla publicly criticizing Polly's behavior, Jarvis apparently taking sole credit for deals that were team efforts, Hall accusing Rose of stealing clients even though they work for the same company.
Wow. That's rough. Direct attacks on people's work and integrity.
Exactly. It raises the stakes way beyond just office politics. So for you, looking closely at this relentless conflict style helps understand why the show is so compelling, maybe even addictive. It's the sheer, unrelenting, often brutal nature of these battles. It's like a designer-clad gladiator match.
And then, yeah, we absolutely have to talk about the Tyler Stanaland effect, personal drama as a catalyst. You just can't talk OC drama without talking about Tyler Stanaland's personal life, can you?
No, impossible. His very public divorce from actress Brittany Snow became a huge storyline, a primary source of drama, especially in the early seasons. And this wasn't cooked up for the show. It was a real-life thing playing out in the tabloids, which then got pulled right into the show's narrative.
Yeah, his personal life basically became office water cooler talk, but like amplified by a million. His flirting with Alex Hall after the divorce, which Brandy come messy, and that whole thing with the office couch makeout session with Polly, These weren't just little moments. They became constant conversations, fuel for endless speculation and judgment among the other ages. Private stuff became public spectacle instantly.
And those moments were weaponized, weren't they? Used in arguments, brought up constantly. It really blurred the lines. And Tyler himself talked about how hard that was. He said he just had to walk it by myself and learn as I go, mentioning how his wife being an actress didn't really prepare him for reality TV.
That makes sense. Acting out drama is one thing. Having your real painful life become the drama everyone's watching and dissecting, that's incredibly vulnerable.
Totally. And eventually all that personal drama just got too intense. It created such a toxic environment that Tyler Stanaland actually left the show.
Right, and he apparently told Jason Oppenheim, you hired the wrong agents, which is
Wow.
a pretty stark comment on how personal drama directly impacted the workplace and the show itself.
It really is. So for you, it raises that big question. How do real-life crises become reality TV gold? And what's the cost to the people involved when their most private moments are turned into entertainment? That line between reality and maybe exploitation gets really, really fine.
Definitely something to think about. Okay, but beyond all this drama, which is obviously captivating, let's not forget the actual job selling high-end real estate and themselves. We got to talk about the houses.
Yeah, exactly. Can't forget the foundation. Despite all the fights and meltdowns, the show does deliver on showing off these incredible luxury properties. Gio Hulu called them some of the most beautiful homes in the world, and they really are stunning, sprawling places in Laguna Beach, Newport Coast, crazy amenities, insane ocean views, massive price tags.
Tens of millions, easily. And Austin Victoria's comment about sexier real estate in OC, that modern, glassy look really comes through. It's pure property porn, basically.
It is, but it's also more than just eye candy for the viewer. Being on the show is clearly a huge business advantage for the agents.
Oh, for sure.
Alexandra Rose mentioned it leads to really great conversations with potential clients who like the fact that their house could potentially be on TV. She flat out called it a great way to leverage getting listings.
Makes sense. Sellers want exposure for those big properties, and the agents get massive brand recognition.
So that's a key takeaway for you. The show isn't just about selling houses. It's also very much about selling the agents themselves, building their brands, and boosting the Oppenheim Group's profile. The drama, weirdly, becomes part of the marketing package for their actual careers. The more memorable you are, maybe the more clients you get. It's this strange loop between entertainment and business.
And this brings us to how critics reacted. The critical acclaim for the unabashedly messy. Because it wasn't just viewers hooked on the chaos. Some critics really liked it. The Daily Beast, again, they praised OC for fixing a major selling sunset problem.
Which was?
The tendency for sunset agents, except Christine, to try too hard to be likable, too polished. The Daily Beast loved that the OC cast was eager to talk shit or humiliate themselves. They argued that willingness to be messy is what ultimately saves it from being a forgettable flop. Quite the compliment for just letting it all hang out.
It's fascinating how being messy is framed as a strength here, not a weakness. Critics describe the drama as blatantly sillier, almost parodic, with a juvenile energy, like a high school popularity contest for adults, but in an entertaining way. It's like the show embraced the absurdity, it didn't try to pretend it was high art, just went for pure spectacle. And critics seem to appreciate that honesty about its own dramatic goals.
And that addictive quality is real. The Guardian reviewer admitted being in a state of nervous collapse from the sheer intensity, the exhausting, baffling meltdowns, the kind of bitching.
Sounds stressful.
Right, but then confessed, but watch I did, and you will too. Which says it all, really. It's compelling, overwhelming maybe, but impossible to look away from, like that perfectly crafted car crash you can't ignore.
So that makes you wonder, doesn't it? What does our fascination with this kind of unabashedly messy, cutthroat entertainment say about what we want to watch now? How does it fit into the reality TV landscape where the lines between real life and produced spectacle are just gone, maybe?
Yeah.
Do we actually want that level of unfiltered, uncomfortable rawness now?
Well, we had definitely navigated the stunning homes and the very turbulent waters of selling the OC. It's been quite the exploration looking at what makes it tick.
Yeah, from the OC setting, the younger co-ed cast, the whole push for authenticity, or at least the appearance of it, and the shift away from a single villain, selling the OC really did manage to create its own distinct space.
It definitely offers a more direct, maybe more confrontational, and undeniably captivating type of reality TV than Sunset.
Right.
It shows us what happens when agents are maybe pushed, or feel free, to be themselves from the very beginning, for better or worse, with cameras catching every moment.
It really pushes the envelope of unscripted TV.
So whether you're watching for the houses, the crazy complex relationships, or just the sheer spectacle of human drama, Selling the OC is this fascinating case study in how reality TV keeps evolving to keep us hooked. It makes you ask, what do we actually value most in this kind of entertainment? Is it the raw honesty? Is it a clever performance? Or is it just a good, messy fight that never seems to end?
And that leads to the final thought, right? As shows like Selling the OC keep blurring that line between authenticity and manufactured drama, with casts getting maybe too comfortable or strategically uncomfortable on camera, where does reality TV go next? Will that line just completely disappear? Are we headed for even more intense, less guarded, maybe more exhausting, but still totally compelling TV? What level of real, with all its messiness and confrontation, are we actually prepared to watch?
Definitely a lot to think about there. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, great chat.
We'll catch you next time.